My name is Margaret Fields. I am 63 years old, and I have lived in the same small village in the north of England all my life. My house is simple, my days are quiet. I run a little bookshop from my home, selling old books I've collected over the years. My husband passed away 11 years ago, and since then, I have been alone. My 2 sons live far away, busy with their own families. They call sometimes, but the conversations are short. I don't blame them. Life moves on. Most days follow the same rhythm. I wake up, make tea, open the shop, and wait. Sometimes no one comes in at all. I tell myself I don't mind, but deep down, I know something is missing. I want to feel noticed again, to feel alive, even just for a moment. One morning, at the market, I saw a young man helping an elderly gentleman pick up coins that had fallen. He bent slowly, picked up each one, and handed them back with a smile that was gentle, unhurried. I don't know why, but that small act of kindness stayed with me. A few days later, I saw him again outside the pharmacy. He nodded and smiled. I smiled back, and for the first time in years, I felt seen. The next day, he walked past my shop. He stopped, stepped inside, and asked if I had any books about gardening. I found him one, and he paid with coins before leaving quietly. His name, I later learned, was Daniel. He worked at the repair shop near the bakery. No family, no parents, just him in a small flat above the shop. From then on, he came back often, sometimes to buy a book, sometimes just to talk, and sometimes only to sit with a cup of tea. His visits became the best part of my days. We talked about little things, the weather, work, books. Once, I struggled with a heavy box, and he carried it for me with ease. "You shouldn't move heavy things alone," he said, smiling. It wasn't just about the box, it was about being cared for. Another time, he brought biscuits. We sat together, and for the first time in years, I told someone about my husband, my sons, my quiet life. He listened. Really listened. Slowly, I began to change. I baked again. I brushed my hair more carefully. I wore my good cardigan and a little perfume. I told myself it was to feel better, but I knew it was also for him. One morning, I found a small note under a teacup. It said, "This place feels like home." My hand shook as I read it. Such simple words, yet they warmed me deeply. From then on, something unspoken grew between us. We still drank tea, still talked about small things, but every silence carried meaning. I realized I looked forward to the sound of his steps, the way he smiled when he entered the shop. I thought I had outgrown such feelings, but my heart reminded me it was still alive. Not everyone understood. I heard whispers in town. Words like shame when my son found out, he called in anger. He couldn't believe it. He said I was ruining our family name. I listened quietly, but inside, I thought. All I'm doing is trying to be happy. That night, I cried, not because he disapproved, but because he didn't even try to understand. Through it all, Daniel stayed. He never judged, never rushed. His love wasn't loud, but steady. He brought me wildflowers one evening, saying, "You make this house feel like home." Another day, with nervous hands, he asked, "Will you marry me?" I was speechless. He didn't care what people said, only that with me, he felt right. The next morning, I said yes. We didn't have a big wedding, just a quiet ceremony. The whispers grew louder in town, but we held on to each other. Every day, he asked me, "How is your heart today?" And for the first time in years, I could always answer, sometimes tired, sometimes strong, but never empty. Months passed. We built a simple life together, filled with tea, books, laughter, and quiet moments. Slowly, even the people in town began to soften. One afternoon, my eldest son came to visit. He looked at me and said, "I thought you were confused, but you look happy. I can see he respects you." Maybe that's enough. That night, I sat in the garden with Daniel, hand in hand under the fading sky. I whispered, "Thank you for not giving up." He smiled and said, "No one gives up on something real. They just wait for others to understand." And in that moment, I knew I wasn't just living, I was alive again. If you're listening, tell me, do you believe love has an age? Or can it arrive quietly, even when you least expect it?